Right, now listen carefully, because what has just come out of Hollywood will make your jaw drop clean onto the floor and it will not bounce back up. Variety, one of the most well-read, well-respected trade publications in the entertainment industry, has just published what can only be described as an absolute bombshell. Not a rumour, not a whisper in a corridor. A full 6-source investigation into the crumbling relationship between Meghan Markle and Netflix. And darling, it is every bit as devastating as you think it is. Let me paint the picture for you. This couple walked away from one of the most extraordinary privileges in the entire world. They left behind the crown, the history, the service, the meaning of it all. And they told us, they told the world, that they were going to build something extraordinary, that Hollywood was going to embrace them, that they were going to be this glittering modern force. One simply cannot watch all of this unravel without feeling a profound mixture of sadness and, I will be honest with you, a very British sense of told you so. Netflix handed them what is reported to be somewhere in the region of $100 million. 100 million. And what has come back in nearly 6 years? Not a single scripted project. Not one. Archwell Productions was originally intended to produce scripted and unscripted films and series for all ages. For the past 18 months, it has largely become a vehicle for Meghan's consumer products brand. Honey, jam, baking mixes. That is what a $100 million Hollywood production deal has produced. Honey and jam. I buy mine from the Village Fete and it cost me £2.50, and I jolly well know who made it. Now here is where it gets truly extraordinary. 2 sources insist that Ted Sarandos, the co-CEO of Netflix himself, recently said he would not sit for a call with the Duchess unless a lawyer was present. Now, both Netflix and the Sussex team deny this. They say he and Meghan text each other quite freely and that she has been to his home without lawyers in tow. But here is the rather telling thing. The fact that multiple sources inside that organisation felt moved to say it at all suggests that the temperature in that building is, shall we say, rather chilly. You do not tell that kind of story about a client relationship that is going swimmingly. You simply do not. One source from within Netflix told Variety regarding the streamer's relationship with Harry and Meghan, the mood in the building is, we are done. Done. That is not diplomatic language. That is not the language of a partnership winding down gracefully over a lovely lunch. That is someone with their coat already on, standing at the door. And then there is the behaviour in meetings, which I find rather fascinating in the way that one finds a train derailment fascinating. You cannot look away. Netflix staffers claim the Duchess has a particular way of expressing offence in online meetings. She simply disappeared from the Zoom. Later, Netflix teams like the marketing department would be informed that her absence was due to her being offended by something that was said. Now her lawyer, bless him, has pushed back and said she is a working mother and that children sometimes wander in unexpectedly. Honestly, darling, I have heard some things in my time, but this one takes the biscuit. The woman lives in a 13-bedroom house in Montecito with, by all accounts, multiple members of household staff. The idea that little Archie and Lilibet were repeatedly bursting through the door of a high-stakes Netflix business meeting is, how shall I put this, rather a stretch. There is also the matter of her behaviour toward her own husband in those very same meetings. Insiders claim the Duchess of Sussex would talk over or recast Prince Harry's thoughts, sometimes while he is mid-sentence, preceding each interruption with a touch to the arm or or thigh. Harry himself has called this categorically false, and their lawyer says the claim is designed to play into misogynistic tropes about a woman bossing her husband around. Now, I want to be fair here, I genuinely do, but we have all watched their public appearances over the years. We have all seen the little arm touches, the redirections, the moments where Harry seems to shrink just slightly. I am not saying anything definitive. I am simply saying that this claim did not fall from thin air. What strikes me most deeply, and I want to be clear that this is where my heart genuinely aches for this country, is the sheer waste of it all. Harry is the son of our king. He was raised within an institution that has weathered centuries. The monarchy has survived wars, abdications, constitutional crises, and the full force of public scrutiny time and again because it is built on something solid, on duty, on continuity, on putting something greater than yourself first. And Harry walked away from all of that with this grand promise that the world outside the palace gates was going to reward him handsomely for it. And now, the very people who were supposed to be that reward are quietly, methodically distancing themselves. Within 3 months of Meghan becoming a client of WME, key members of the team assembled to represent her dropped off the account, including Endeavour CEO Ari Emanuel himself. Now, Ari Emanuel is not a man who drops clients because he fancies a quiet afternoon. He is one of the most powerful figures in American entertainment. When someone of that stature quietly removes himself from your account within 90 days, that tells you something rather important about what he found when he looked closely. And then there is Tom Bower, whose new book, Betrayal, has apparently sent the Sussex communications team into quite the flap. A spokesperson for the prince and the actress released a statement accusing Bower of crossing the line from criticism into fixation. Crikey. Now, one might observe that when you have written a book about someone once before, and that book sold rather well, and you have now written another one, that is not fixation. That is called there being enough material for a sequel. Tom Bower is a serious journalist and author with a long and distinguished track record. The idea that he requires lectures on professional conduct from the Sussex press office is frankly rather rich. What this variety piece lays bare in meticulous and rather uncomfortable detail is the gap between the story they have told about themselves and the reality that the industry has actually experienced. The Sussexes' perceived pattern of selling repackaged versions of the same story about their exit from royal life has exhausted Netflix. And there it is, the well is dry. You can only tell the same story so many times before even the most patient audience stops listening. They have monetized their departure from the royal family to an extraordinary degree. And now that departure is no longer the novelty it once was, there is rather little left to sell. Britain has always known how to do dignity. We are not perfect, not by any stretch, but we understand that certain things are worth protecting. The crown endures not because it is fashionable, but because it represents something that goes far deeper than any streaming deal or lifestyle brand ever could. It represents continuity, sacrifice, and the quiet strength of service. And as this whole rather sorry saga continues to unfold, I think the contrast only becomes clearer. Mark my words, the institution they left behind is standing just as tall as it ever was, and the empire they promised to build is crumbling like a soggy digestive. One simply cannot help but hope that somewhere in all of this, there is still a path back to something more meaningful, for Harry's sake, if nothing else. Britain has not stopped being his home, even if he has rather lost his way getting back to it.